Hi, Speculous here, and I was somewhere the other week where someone was asking me what it's like to do the same thing for 40 years, and I said, well, working with horses, it's not really always the same thing. In fact, I find like almost every day, virtually every day, you can learn something new about horses. It's kind of like, I always think it like an onion, you keep peeling back the layers, you think you've kind of got it, and then you peel back and you learn something else about them, it goes deeper and deeper, and I guess that's sort of been my experience for the last 40 years anyway. But we had a horse show the other weekend, and it reminded me of when all this kind of started for me. And I was in a horse show as a young kid, and I was so excited. I remember it's my first show ever, and at the end of the class, the judge had all the horse and riders line up, and then she came down the line and started asking questions of all the riders. And so I could kind of hear some of the questions. So she was saying things like, what color is your horse? Like, okay, I know the color of my horse. Okay, I'm good. Or then she'd come along and say, what breed is your horse? I go, okay, I got that. I've got the breed. I'm going to be good, And so all these questions. So I don't know, maybe by the time she got to me, she was running out of questions. I don't know. But she got to me and she looked at me and she said, what is a Jack Spavin? I remember sitting there going, I have no idea. Not only have I never heard the word Spavin, I've never heard the word Jack and Spavin in the same sentence. I have no idea what you're talking about. So it felt like an hour of just sitting there being lost, and finally she just smiled and kind of moved on to the next rider. I was devastated. So this is, of course, pre-Google, pre all these things, so it wasn't like, I could go on my smartphone and Google what's a Jack Spavin. So I ended up, remember trying to get to a library the next possible chance I could, trying to look it up. And I actually don't remember how I found it, if it was just in an old dictionary or if I actually found a horse book. I can't remember, but I finally discovered what the heck a Jack Spavin was. And that kind of ended up making me really determined to never be caught out like that again, to never feel like such a novice that I didn't have any idea what that word was. And I figured it must be pretty common or she wouldn't have asked me. And so that sort of started my whole adventure with learning about horses, And I always think every single day, if you are open to it, the horses will teach you something. And that's probably why 40 years has felt like it went pretty fast, because every day I get to learn something. So anyway, that is my ridiculous story for this week. So if you're ever in a horse show and you're lined up and the judge asks you, what's a Jack Spavin? You can say, well, it's an arthritic condition in the hind leg, the hock joint of the hind leg of the horse. So that's it for this week. Learn as much as you can about these wonderful creatures, because it's always worth it. Remember to thank your horse, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.